Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Good morning. I love to see your smiling faces. My name is Stephanie, and we are going to get started. Good morning. All right. If you're brand new, welcome. My name is Stephanie. I'm tuning in from Minnesota. Listen, my house is usually wild. I have 4 daughters and 4 dogs. The dogs are wild. Don't ask me why we have 4 dogs, because I often try to give them away. Listen, I love them. They're super cute. And they're just wild. So I love to see your smiling faces. Here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to send you all of my dogs. Justin said he just sent his kids away for summer camp. My kids are going to camp next week. I wish I could send the dogs away to summer camp. Somebody want them? Oh, you guys. Okay. This is going to be fun. Here's what we're going to do today. We're really just going to give you some action steps. I'm going to have some people share with you that either A, have already hit MVP already this month, or B, they hit it every single month. And as you're listening to these action steps, what I want you to do is, if we have time at the end and you've already hit MVP for the month and you have an action that wasn't said, I want you to raise your hand at the end and you can share your action step. But real quick, I have a thought for you this morning. So in the chat thread, tell me, what did you do this morning to build up your mindset or to help your mindset? Did you read? Are you reading a specific book? Did you listen to a podcast? What did you do to get your mindset on track? If you want to say it in the chat, I would love to know. Oh, he worked out. I love it. Chris worked out. But I love that. I want to know, did you listen? Let me ask you this question. Drop a 1 in the chat if you listen to a book, or if you listen to a podcast, or if you do something in the morning to get your mindset right. I want you to drop a 2 if you actually need help in that area. If you got up, if you maybe hit the snooze button, if you were running behind, if you watch the news, if you scroll through social media, I'm just going to say drop a 2 if you're like, shoot, I need to work on this. So I have a thought for you today if you're taking notes. And there's a book that I'm reading called Kazone. It's Chazon, Kazone. And in the book, he talks about how your life is like a circle or a tire, right? And you have different spokes in your life that affect the other spokes. So think about like your life as a tire. You've got your work spoke, your family spoke, your financial spoke, your relationship spoke, your physical spoke. And if one of those spokes is broken, it affects the other spokes, right? Oftentimes I'll tell people, really, when they're working on their health and fitness, I need you to pay attention to the other parts of your life, because usually it might not necessarily be the health spoke that's broken. It might be your relationship spoke, it might be your physical spoke, or it might be your financial spoke. And usually if you can really narrow down and go, shoot, this is what's broken, it'll help fix the other spokes. So in general, there's a phrase or a quote that I wanted to share with you this morning that I was reading in that book. And he says this: everyone ends up somewhere. Few people end up somewhere on purpose. I would recommend that you write that down. Everyone ends up somewhere. Few people end up somewhere on purpose. So my question to you is, are you building your business on purpose, or do you just let it happen? Do you get up in the morning on purpose, with a purpose, with your DMOs? And part of your DMOs that I feel like Prove It really instills in us is mindset. And what are you doing to get your mindset right, to be able to work through your DMOs and work through the actions to build your business? So there's a lot of things that we can talk about. I'm going to shoot it over to a couple people. They're going to share with you what they do in the mornings, why they're hitting MVP every month, or how they already hit it this month. We're going to just make a list of actions. And then you can go ahead, and if you've got something at the end, I'm going to have you share it. We do have a couple things we're going to talk about that we're going to do today. And here's the phrase, Brittany Nelson said, the phrase is this: everyone ends up somewhere. Few people end up somewhere on purpose. I want you to end up in your business on purpose. And that comes with taking action, writing out your DMOs. It's going to come with, Chris is going to talk to you first about what he does to hit MVP. And so we're going to dive in right away. Chris Webb, I want you to pop on and share with us how do you hit MVP every month? What is your first thing that you do? What is an action step you can give everybody today? I think we just have to unmute you. Or can you unmute yourself, or is it not working? It's not working. All right, hold on. Christine is going to get it. Chris Webb. And just so you know, Christina, I've got Chris Webb, Brittany Nelson, and Heidi that are going to share, Heidi Geary. So if you have to unmute them, you totally can do that. I know he's coming. I know it. She's looking for you. All right, Chris, you should be able to unmute yourself. I kind of want to do what Prove It does. Technical difficulties. It's great.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. All right, Chris.
Okay. I'm sorry. We have two different phones going. All right. Chris Webb, Lake Havasu City, Arizona. And actually, my wife, Danny, and we do this together. And when I was asked, we were asked yesterday, we were talking about this topic of hitting MVP multiplier. So I started thinking about what we do. And yes, I'll cover briefly on that, but I want to cover something I think that's even more important. So creating a ritual is huge. So like what Stephanie was talking about in the morning, getting your mind right. So like both Danny and I, we have very similar rituals. We get up early intentionally, and we set our mind right, whether that's gratitude, reading a book, getting ready to, and we do that before we get ready to work out. We work out, we dive into some work online because our mind is right. And then as far as, there's going to be some tips shared on like action steps to get new volume to reach MVP multiplier. And if something isn't touched on during that process, I'll come back and touch on something else, but I think everything will be hit. But what I want to talk about is something that even if you do these action steps, what if you're not getting the results that you are desiring, right? So if I'm looking at people who are doing some of the action steps that we've talked about over a period of time, and their results are not the same as someone else doing the action steps and getting different results, okay? My question is, or my thought process this morning came down to trust. And this is a tough one. Do people trust you? And that's a hard question actually to think about, and like in regards to what, right? So do people trust you in regards to pursuing better? Do they trust you in regards to what you are posting? And I'm not talking about posting what ketones do. I'm not posting about that because the science is behind that, right? Do they trust you if you say that you are becoming more consistent because of ketones? Do they trust you when you say that you are becoming healthier because of ketones? Do they trust you because you say you have better relationships because of the community? And so when you try to answer that, I'm going to challenge you to think about what else you're posting. Meaning that, and so here was my thought this morning. If somebody posts, like I post a lot of meme quotes, okay? And what that means, just writing a quote, if it impacts me, I want to share it. Now, if I post something that talks about consistency will take you to your fitness goals, and I'm just pulling that off my head, right? Let's just say something was really good wrapped around that statement, right? Consistency is the only answer to hitting your fitness goals. If we are posting that, are we actually getting closer to our fitness goals? Now, some people might hear this and go, well, shoot, maybe I shouldn't post positive things. And that's not what I'm saying, because we need that. We need to put ourselves in a positive state. And sometimes that helps us, right? So what I'm going to challenge you to do I think everyone has a trust number, to raise your trust number for your audience. What I'm going to challenge you to do is when you do post something about a better version of yourself, if you don't feel that you are there yet, share that. Share that, right? So if it's about consistency towards a fitness goal, post that meme, right? It feels good. You're helping others. You're bringing up, you're adding value, and share what that post means to you Like, this is something if you struggle with it, right? This is something I struggle with. I cannot wait until I'm like next level consistency. Now, when people are scrolling through your feed and they see these posts that you are posting, they're going to look at, everybody judges. It's just the way it is. So they're either going to look at you, because I know people looked at me, they look at you, they look at all of us, and they say, is that person in alignment with what they're sharing? Is that truly what they value? Now, it might be what you're working towards. So like, again, I'll encourage you to put that in the caption and be honest, be raw, be real. And it doesn't mean, kind of crap on ourselves and say, well, I suck and I can't wait to be better. Not like that. Just like, wow, this post fired me up, or this quote fires me up because it's something that I'm striving to do in my life. The only way that we will build trust, and this is so important, is to share our truth. Now, if you look at two provers sharing and doing the same exact thing, the person that has a higher trust number will have a bigger business. It's just the truth. If I'm going to reach out to grow in any area of my life, I will not reach out to somebody I don't trust. And if there's multiple people, I'm probably going to reach out to the person that I trust more and I relate more to. And the people that I relate more to are the people who are being more honest with their journey. So as we move forward with these shares of what to do, remember, it's not just what to do, it's how we do those things.
Oh, Chris, I love that. People are saying, yes, they love it. So true. Being authentic, being you. The biggest thing I tell a mom is the messier you are online, meaning how you look. It's okay. Like, I'll pre-frame and I'll tell people, listen, when I'm doing a live, I have 4 dogs and 4 girls. You're probably going to hear them in the background. Or I have a kid that pops into the room, or like, I'll tell my kids, hey, I'm on a Zoom, but it's also a part of life. Right. And as you walk people through your life, you're 100%. That is going to be how you're going to hit multiplier. You're relatable, you're authentic, you're sharing your actual life. If you're sharing the quotes, I love that. Hey, I love this quote and I'm still working on it. And so I love that you said that, because it pre-frames the rest of your day. All of the actions that you're going to do, you being you and you sharing what truly resonates with you, is going to help other people go, I want to connect with her. I want to connect with him. And so that's online. That's the online part of it, is being you, being messy. I think Justin shared this. He wrote the mess is your message. Because remember, you're relating back to the person that you were in the very beginning, right? How do I relate to the mom that just needed to make $400? So it's continuing to remember where you came from if you're in a different place today, and either walking back through that or sharing who you are as you take people along the journey with you. I love that. All right. We're going to dive into some action. Thank you, Chris. I'm going to come back to Danny in a little bit. I'm going to have Heidi share first. Heidi, unmute yourself and give us an action or two of what you're doing, because you hit multiplier every month. And I don't know how long it's been, but you do hit it pretty fast. Can you give them some action steps of what you're doing?
I sure can. Yeah. I've never missed multiplier. So GM3 will shake my butt, celebrate myself. That's one thing I am definitely finding a challenge, is to celebrate myself. So I really am making that a big effort to do that every day. So I start my day with celebrating myself and being grateful. And I put myself on a fast track for that. I do not touch my phone. I pour into myself and into my kiddos. And then I get ready for business. I do not start business in the morning. For some action steps, we have so many different things we can do. And I know that when I start looking to see what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? I get just so completely overwhelmed. So I go back to basics. And what are basics? So for people who are new, what are basics? Why are you here? What's exciting you? That's what I share. So I just share from my heart. Why am I drinking ketones? Why am I a part of Prove It? And that's where I start. That's where everything comes from. Why am I so happy? Why am I so connected? Why do I love this so much? It all comes from my heart, Heidi's heart. I don't care how it comes out of my mouth. I stopped judging myself as soon as you started pouring into me, telling me it didn't, there's no judgment. So I'm kind of popping around. So I am staying connected with you guys, with our community, and I am trusting my heart that it's going to come out to the right people. My biggest action step that I can give everybody, how people often ask me, how do you hit multipliers so quickly? Because my month never ends. It never ends. I don't watch for the 30th or the 31st. It keeps going. So I don't panic or I don't pressure. I get fired the freak up. Like right now, we've got this massive sale on. So I'm fired the freak up. Let's go. It's going right now. I get inspired and I get some fire going in me and I go with these sales, but I just instill and I get connected with who I need to get some fire going in me, and I just go. The month never ends. So I don't allow the pressure to build on me. I just, for instance, we had the 4th of July sale. Well, here in Canada, oh, by the way, I'm in Canada. I'm Heidi from Canada. We had the 4th of July sale. Well, we started with Canada Day, and it just continued on and on and on and on and on. Like, how great was that? It just kept going. And there was no leading up to anything or closing down of anything. And then when the 4th of July sale ended, well, I just kept it going with creating coupons and extending it because I was just still fired up. It just kept on going.
Hey, Heidi. So tell me this real quick, your actions, because I see you, like you share social media, but you also do, like, you're very intentional on purpose with doing tables and doing things. So if you were to tell people are you just making a post? Who are you talking to? Are you doing a booth? Like, what are you doing to find these people?
I'm doing little bits of everything. So I love talking to people because I love talking from my heart. I love making that connection. So I start with social media. I pre-plan my posts the night before, so they pop up, and I'll do a couple posts throughout the day. And trust me, I would love to say I pre-plan everything, but I'm the ping pong. So things just come up here and there, but I try to pre-plan social media so things will pop up. I am very intentional about making connections inside of my community. And I am very intentional about planning markets. Now, when I go and I do a market, this is how I present ketones to people. Straight from Heidi, super excited. My life has changed. I talk that way. And I come with my trial packs, absolutely. But I say, you guys, look, like, I can save you so much more money. Let me just help you sign up here. We can have the ketones shipped right to your house. And how about I give you 50% off a trial pack here to get you through until your ketones show up.
I love that. You sign them right up with a box, but you also give them a 50% discount off the trials. You guys, did you hear what she did? So first of all, not only did Chris and Heidi both start off their morning intentional with their mindset, which I truly believe that anybody who's either hitting their multiplier within the first 10 days of the month, or just hitting it in general, is they're setting their day up with intention and on purpose. She probably sits down the night before, Heidi. So listen, you're wearing blue. If you guys understand the color wheel and how all of us are different colors, Heidi is blue. Heidi is fun. She said she's a little sporadic, but I'm going to guess you probably give yourself 30 minutes at night where you really go, what does my day look like tomorrow? Right? So if you're going to hit, I love that you said you don't plan out, like your month never ends, because if you sit down every day with intention, whether it's the night before or right away in the morning, and you plan your day, it doesn't have to be like a PowerPoint planned out, Google Doc, but she's probably like, you know what, tomorrow is Thursday, which means I'm going to have to plan for Freebie Friday on Friday, right? So today is Wednesday. What did you plan out for today? We have a guest call. She probably thought about that last night. So between you talking to people at the booths and tables, which you're great at follow up, you do social media, you have fun, you show, then you go back and talk to those people, correct?
Absolutely.
And she has fun with it. All right. Any other action step you want to share?
I do want to say one thing, because I found that I put a lot of pressure on myself about, and I'm sure there's other people out in the world this way. I know there is. I put a lot of pressure on myself about being organized. And it pressured me so much that I kind of shut down for a while about being organized. So I have my books. And I have books. And I have sticky notes, and I have them all. And yes, they're not all inside one book, and they're not all listed on one paper, but I don't miss a name. Hopefully, I don't miss a name. So when it comes to following up and there's a sale, I jot everything down. I love the pen and paper. I put everyone's name down, and then I will go back at the end of a week and I will put everyone's name down on a nice list. And I have a book that says potential. And then I keep a running list of everybody I can follow up with, and I transfer it into my Rhino tracker. So yes, maybe I have random sticky notes, and it's okay, you guys. There's like, perfect for one person is not perfect for somebody else.
I actually love that tip. Thank you for sharing, Heidi. Truly appreciate it, because that's a huge tip in hitting multiplier every month. It's keeping track of everybody that's a potential, whether it's a customer, promoter, conversation you had, the power of the ask, somebody that you commented. Maybe you haven't even talked to the person, but having a spot in your notebook or your Google Doc of like, I'd love to connect with this person. So I'm dropping seeds. Anybody, I mean, that one tip of making sure, not organizationally perfect, but having it written down. So if you guys saw what my even like, I should show you what I do the same thing. I've got like 5 notebooks. I set them down with me when I sit down with my intentional time, morning or night, and I have a running list of names. That is huge. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Heidi. I truly appreciate it. I know you have to scoot out, so we love you and thank you.
I got to go to the gym.
I love it.
This girl goes to the gym now.
You're so great. Thank you, Heidi. All right. I'm going to shoot it over to Brittany Nelson. Then Danny, you're going to be after that. Brittany Nelson, pop on and share with us. What are some actions that you are doing that allows you to hit MVP every month?
Hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. Hey guys, Brittany from Austin. First of all, thank you for asking me to share. I always get nervous, like talking in front of a group of promoters. I don't know why. So I appreciate and love all of y'all. And just know that if I can do this, you can too. But I would first love to know, if you are full-time with Prove It, will you type a 1? And if you are not full-time with Prove It, will you type a 2? So I don't know when I heard this on a training recently, or it's been told to us multiple times, but one of the things that I've heard is like, we are most qualified to help the person that we used to be. So for all the people that put a 1, my question to you, and you don't have to put this in the chat, is like, what did you used to do for your full-time job? Like, just think about that. And for those of you that are 2, like, why is it that you started Ketones as a business? Why did you decide to start sharing this? So my action step was something that has been super helpful with me hitting multiplier. And now like going for recruiting roundtable, because I'll be honest, I was like, Chris and I talked about this. It wasn't in my RAS. It wasn't something that I've gone for. And I quite frankly, like, I think Chris and I did talk about that at the event, right? Like him and I were in alignment with that. Neither one of us were really trying to go for it. And now that we're trying to go for it, like our business is growing, I'm hitting multiplier now with promoters instead of customers. And one of the things that I've done recently, and you don't have to do this, but it's an idea, is I've created a separate page solely around the business opportunity. And you can do that on whatever platform that you want. And for me, like I'm speaking to teachers, like that's what I used to be. And so for me, I feel like I'm most qualified and I can relate to those that used to be or are in education, whether they're part-time or whether they're full-time, I can still relate to them. So when you put whether you're full-time and now you're full-time with Prove It, I would ask like, well, what did you used to do? Like, were you in a profession where you made a lot of money, but you didn't have time? Were you in a profession that there wasn't a lot of money and you wanted a different income opportunity? So for me personally, like I just started this page and it allows me, Steph, and everybody else who's on here, to talk about the business every single day. And for people that follow that page or follow that content, like I know that they are potentially interested in the opportunity. So I kind of did a separate page. You can do it on whatever you want. You can do it on Instagram. You can do it on Facebook. You can do it on TikTok. But it allows me to not feel guilty about talking about the business every day on my personal page, if you would. So it's like a completely different platform that I recently started. And just like anything, it's going to take time to build up. And that's why I love that Chris shared, like, hey, we really have to marry the process and divorce the outcome. And I'm in a new volume leaderboard chat every single day with Karen and Mandy. We have like a 3-way chat. And I don't know, Karen, if you remember this, but like last month, Mandy was like kicking butt in the first couple days. And this month, like it was kind of reversed and it was you and I kind of kicking butt and she felt like she was catching up. But the crazy thing is none of us were doing anything different than what we already were doing every single day. So I love that Chris said that. It's just like stay consistent with whatever you're doing and just remember like, hey, sometimes your business is going to move at a different speed. But that is something in the last month and a half that I have created. So that is an idea for you, is if you're wanting to have more business conversations, maybe create a separate business page. And if you're not wanting to be active on social media and you're not really wanting to share that, or that's not your strength, then my advice would be like, we'll bring up the business more often in your conversations. So one of the things that we just had the other night, which Dustin and Steph, I don't know about everybody else on the Zoom, but I thought it was so incredible. It was so powerful, that education packed call with the support products. Like he's just so knowledgeable and you guys ping ponged that so well. And when I followed up with people about it, asking like, hey, were you happen to be on? Like, did you like it? What was your favorite part, etc. I let the conversation kind of unfold. And then why not just make the ask of like, hey, have you seen our dollar opportunity? Like that's still going on. I don't know if you've ever thought about doing the business, but it's just about really making the ask. And something that I have done from the very beginning, and I have like a ton of screenshots on my phone that literally have a letter P, which stands for me as a promoter. So when I'm in a conversation talking about ketones or the opportunity, whatever we're talking about, a simple ask that you can always make is like, hey, do you want to start as a customer or a promoter? And I feel like that question has really given me a lot of success as far as hitting MVP multiplier, because again, it is about making the ask. And some people will say, oh, I kind of want to start as a customer, but if I fall in love and I get results, or maybe I get comfortable, I'll share it. Well, for me, immediately, like that's a potential promoter. So the very next time that we have a promoter conversation or a promoter call or something that they can plug into, like I have a plethora of screenshots on my phone with the letter P, however you track them, whatever your system is, that I can go invite to that call. So I think follow-up and consistency is 100% the most important thing with multiplier. And somebody said once, like, follow up until you die or until they say no. I find like I'm so confident in what we have that I don't mind following up, even if people haven't responded to me in like 5 or 6 or 7 messages, because they haven't told me no. So I'm just going to keep putting the opportunity out there. I'm going to keep giving them value. Hey, here's a call with Dustin. Here's a support product call. Here's a guest call tonight. Here's a 50% off like mojito nights, until they just say like, hey, Brittany, I'm not interested. And then like I'll kind of step back. And you can even put that in your message and just say like, hey, I really don't want to be a bother. Haven't heard from you. I know life happens, but we have a guest call tonight. Just talk how you talk. But I think energy and excitement really is everything. And then the last thing I'll say is, as far as social media is concerned, like if you're not a big person into making posts or making reels or doing the TikToks or whatever, the reality is that every single one of us are drinking these every single day. So something that you can do every single day, because we're drinking them, And if you want your customers to drink twice a day, I hope you are drinking twice a day and you show that on your story that you're drinking them twice a day. But stories disappear after 24 hours, you guys, on Instagram and Facebook. You can never overwhelm your stories. You can never make too many stories, but that's a simple step every single day, is that you can show people, hey, I'm not just telling the world to drink ketones, like I myself are mixing them up daily. Add a song, add some text, add a question, add a poll, whatever you want to do. But that's like, in my opinion, if you want to build on social media, like consistency on social media, it's a job, right? Social media, in my opinion, like it's a job, it's a commitment. You're a content creator, but bare minimum, like show people that you're drinking it every day. And if you want people to drink Mitoplex, use Mitoplex. If you want people to do the reboot, you yourself have to do the reboot. If you want people to do the 5-day intermittent fasting system, you yourself have to do the 5-day intermittent fasting system. So I just think it's like, be a product of the product. Consistency is key. Follow up. And if you want promoters in your business, we just have to make the ask.
It's so good. I actually tell people, if you're going to start with anything, start with stories, because they do disappear. And something you can do on top of that is you can actually see who's watching your stories. So if you find that you haven't talked to that person that's watching your stories, whether it's 5 people or 20 people or whatever, you can go click on the little circle on the bottom, and then you can go ahead and message that person, whether you're going to go comment on their stuff first and go, hey, I saw that you are watching my stories. I wanted to connect and say hi. Hey, not sure if you're interested, if you saw me shaking up ketones, but I'd love to share more with you. I know that, hey, are you drinking ketones yet? Hey, are you drinking ketones yet? Stories are huge. They're super fun to make. If you've never done them, go to YouTube and type in, how do I create a Facebook story? Instagram. How do I create a Facebook or an Instagram story? You guys, YouTube can be the easiest. Oftentimes people will say, I'm afraid to do a reel. Hey, how do I do this? We have so much simple information, like your team can teach you, but you can legitimately watch a 3-minute video of, how do I do a reel? How do I utilize Instagram? How do I, you guys, it's so simple. And there's so many simple, basic how-tos out there. Go figure out how to do it, and then just do it. So, all right.
Can I do one more thing? Because Justin just reminded me, and I do just think it's the power of the ask. And I think what he said in the chat is so powerful, of like, whether it's a story or even a like, you guys, if you're building on social media, people that like your post are little turtle arms that are potential business partners or potential customers. So it could just be as much as like, hey, thank you so much for the support of my post. Like, have you ever tried these? They're a game changer. And just really making that ask. And one more thing, like I've had someone recently on our team just ask me like, hey, I really don't want to build social media. That's not my forte. And the question that I would ask for those people is like, what are you doing out in the everyday world to share ketones and get them in front of people, right? So you can add a lot of ice to your shaker bottle, make a lot of noise when you're mixing them up. I went and played sand volleyball this morning, and I truly do believe that everybody that is in the sports world or is being active and working out, this is a fuel source. And I purposely waited to mix up my ketones in front of every single person that was around me so that they would see it. And people are nosy and they were going to ask what you're doing. So if you can get out into the real world, whether it's working at a coffee shop or mixing it up in a grocery store, even if you're going to go pack up some trial packs, I always purposely wait and pack up one trial pack at the post office, because you just never know who's going to be around and who's going to ask you. So I hope this was helpful. I know that that was a lot of information. And if there's anything that I can do to support you guys, don't hesitate to reach out.
So good. Thanks, Britt. I love it. Thank you. All right, Danny Webb, you're up. You're going to share an action, and then I have an action for all of you to do today, diving into tonight's guest call. So Danny Webb, what are you doing to hit multiplier, or an action step in your business, whatever you want to share?
Am I on this one?
I see you.
Right. Sorry. All right, I'm going to post in here. Go ahead. Sorry. Technical difficulties. Hey guys, my name is Danny Webb. Chris and I have been sharing and drinking ketones for 5.5 years, and we've had, our story is, it's a little bit different as far as like where we started and why we came into the business. But I love what everybody shared. Heidi had some really good, awesome points. Brittany, I love you always spit fire. And I really love sitting next to him, listening to what he has to say. It's weird when I listen to him, he's different. Like it's almost like I'm listening to him, as a mentor, as opposed to my husband. It's crazy. but we are two separate people. We run our business two separate ways. And we have separate gift zones. So if you are working with your spouse, find your gift zones and lean on each other for that 100%, right? He's really good at back office. He's really good at certain things that I'm not good at. And so he allows me to be good at what I'm good at. And not that we need to give permission by any means, but just like I would say, create a space for your spouse to shine, right? So it's interesting, Stephanie, that you said, about messaging people for Instagram stories. We were actually right in the middle of doing this yesterday when she messaged and said, hey, you want to help tomorrow morning on the call? I was like, yeah, sure. So I'm going to post what I posted or what I'm sending people. I think Chris and I do very similar. In fact, I got the script from him, tweaked it a little bit, but make it your own. And this is what I go through. What I did was I went through, this is an action step. Went through my Instagram stories. I don't know if you guys ever go and look and see who's watching your stories. I do. And there's a handful of people that consistently watch my stories every single day that I found I wasn't following because I actually had to request to follow them when I went to send them a message. I couldn't message them. And I was like, wow, okay. So one, there's an awareness that's created that I'm not following people that are following me, whether I want to or not, right? Well, I don't know what their content is because they're private. So until I request it and then get invited to see their stuff, then I can take inventory of their stuff. If I want to stay, I can stay. If not, then I can gracefully exit. But it was an awareness that came about because people are following and I couldn't message them. So I sent about 5 requests to follow, but in the middle of all that, between Facebook and Instagram, I just started going through people that I hadn't talked to. It kind of got a little bit tricky because with Facebook, because we have a lot of the same followers, we had to sit there and go, okay, have you talked to this person? Have you reached out with this person? So make sure that you're on the same page if you guys are working your business together. If not, then this is totally irrelevant. This is what I put. I'm going to try to put it in the chat. Did that go? Yep. Okay. So you guys can copy paste, make that your own. Oh, I think I just get a bunch of fireballs.
Good.
But that's the message that we sent. It's very uninvasive as far as I'm concerned. And it's basically just, hey, I'm just curious, like you guys watch me every day. So out of me sending this to customers yesterday, or not customers, I'm sorry, potential customers, sending this to people yesterday, I'm meeting up with 2 girls today. Right. And I've got some conversations that have been started. I've gotten some no's, I've gotten some left on reds, I've gotten it all. But it's the act of doing. And for a split second, Chris and I we've been in this industry for 11 years, right? We've been doing this for a long time. And we both came to the conclusion yesterday that we still have butt pucker moments. Like I went to go send something to somebody. And even though like I am 100% confident in who I am, what I stand for, and why I drink ketones, for a split second, I was like, oh my gosh, again, it goes back to the fear of judgment, right? And so I had to remember who I was and why I'm doing this and marry the process, divorce the outcome. Chris and I shared that with each other yesterday because we both had that awareness, like, wow, crazy. And out of those conversations, like the people are like, yeah, we want some information. Like, how crazy is that? The people that we were most scared of messaging, but we did it anyways. So that's just one tip. Another one, if you guys have Pulse Pro, I would strongly recommend utilizing this feature. If you don't have Pulse Pro, I would look into getting it. There's so much that comes along with having Pulse Pro that you have access to. If you go to your Pulse Pro and down at the bottom, you click on Community, and then you go to Customers, there's going to be 3 icons, right? There's going to be your fire icon, which are your current like hot customers. There's going to be your ice icon, which are customers that have not ordered for over a year, which is actually new volume if you get them re-invited with a $20 coupon. And then the third one is, what was it? Loyal customers, right? So what I've been doing is I've been going through our cold icons and messaging people, basically, telling them we've got some new product, we've got some new technology that's come out. Would you be interested in just kind of using my own language, but re-engaging conversation with people that, hey, I know that we used to drink ketones in the past, and I would love to get you some information if you're interested, right? So just touching base with old customers, not necessarily pushing the rope, but actually just re-engaging with those customers, because somebody may just need that proverbial tap on the shoulder. Like, you know what? I remember when, and I felt so good. I don't know why I ever stopped. It's been over a year since I drank them. And wow, I can start with a box at half off today. Absolutely. Sign me up. Right. So those are action steps, but going back to like, how do we get the people? Like, how do we get the people to be able to reach out to be able to message like, hey, I see you stalking my stories. My big thing is, are you adding value? Right? We get monetized for a product that we like to drink. We do. Like, we're no different than if you follow Andy Frisella or if you follow, Joe Rogan. Like, they all have their own line of products that they use. First Form, like you guys are very familiar with this. They talk about it infrequently, but they get monetized by a product that they're speaking about, right? So they're not a billboard for First Form. They're not a billboard for 75. Well, I don't know. Andy Frisella might be a billboard. He's a walking billboard for 75 Hard. But you guys get what I'm saying, right? It's cool that we get paid by a product, by a company that we're consuming the product that we actually love. And my whole thing with this is like, how am I adding value? How am I building trust with people? How am I gaining followers? And how do people know that I am true to who I say I am? Right? It's just sharing my story. It's sharing my ups and downs. It's sharing my ins and outs. It's sharing how we've grown as a couple over 15 years. Like, it's sharing everything that I feel like I want to share. I don't have to share like the, down and dirty. Like, we get to share what we want to share, but you're basically giving someone a sneak peek to your life, who you are, what your values are, what you're in alignment with, and where you're going. Not where you've been, what you've done, and who you've dated in the past, right? If I talked about all that, then my relationship with my spouse would not be very good. If I constantly talked about my boyfriends from high school or what I did before I met him or any of that, like, he'd be like, dude, well, what are we doing and where are we going? So I think that when we talk about our story, where we're going, what we've overcome, because that is a crucial part of our story, but adding value, right? When we're adding value to people, you start to build up that trust. People pop in, they want to hear what you have to say. Maybe they're growing through something that you've already been through. Maybe you can help them. Maybe they can help you. We always say iron sharpens iron. So who are you surrounding yourself with, right? So, but adding value is a huge part of our journey, because if we don't add value, people are not going to be drawn to us. If we're not sharing our story, people don't know who you are. I know Stephanie is a stay-at-home mom that homeschools 4 girls, that has 4 crazy dogs, that lives on a lake, that has an amazing husband, and her faith is so freaking solid, she's unshakable. That's what I know about Stephanie Milkey, right? So what do people know about you? Because they're following you, and if they're going to trust you, they have to know your life. They don't have to know the ins and the outs and the ugly and all of that, but sharing their life and sharing your story and not just being a billboard for prove it is so huge in building your business, right? So that's what I got. I hope that makes sense. A couple of action steps, but really going back to why we do this. You know what I mean? How are you adding value daily? And it's not what you give, it's what you get back from that, because what you give, you have forever, right? We don't give with the anticipation of getting anything back in return. You give because you feel like you want to give from the heart, and because you're adding value. So when I post something, I think, okay, is this adding value? Whether it's something that somebody can smile about, or they can think about, or they can learn from. Are my posts adding value, or are they creating havoc, right? I don't want to be about that. So just think about that when you're posting.
I love that.
That's it.
Thank you. And it goes back to having people trust you, right?
Turn it up.
Everybody that shared, no, you're great, Danny. Everybody that shared went to the adding value. First of all, they got their mindset right. They worked on themselves, and then they dove into their day with intention of connecting with people, following up. And so here, I love that. Thank you, Brittany. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Heidi. Here's the action step you guys have for the rest of the day. We have a guest call tonight that Nick is going to be leading. I actually don't know who's doing it with him, but I would highly recommend that you do, number one, just invite people to it. Right? So I wrote down, like, follow up with anybody that has trial packs. Hey, we're doing a guest. This is what you can say. Hey, I have a guest call tonight where some of my friends are sharing their stories about ketones. So I always say, I want you to come and learn about what ketones do and come and hear about our community. That's all I say. Hey, I want to invite you to a guest call tonight. We get to learn about ketones and experience our community, where you get to learn about ketones and hear more about our community. I want to invite you, and you can do that lots of different ways. Sending out personal messages. You can call a friend. You can send a text message to, like, Brittany has a whole bunch of people in her phone labeled P. All of those people can still come on because maybe she's had the promoter conversation, but guess what? They need to come and experience our community because they'll talk about that. I want you to make a story about it. I already did it today, a little poll that says, who wants to hop on the Zoom? Send me a Zoom link. The second one says, I love this community, right? Because then you can send it to them. Don't just share the Zoom link. That's where we have problems, which we had a couple weeks ago. Like, be intentional, invite people, call people. I'm sure Heidi will follow up with all of those people in her notebook and intentionally ask them to join her on the Zoom. So I would say today your action step is invite people to the guest call. Remember, even if you can't be on it, we send them back to you, right? It's totally fine if you can't, but we want to utilize these calls because it's other people's voices. So you've got people that follow you on social media and they hear your story over and over again. And it might be the 18th time they heard it from Nick or somebody else that's sharing. They're going to go, okay, Heidi, I'm ready. All right, Britt, I'm ready to join you. Oh my goodness. Chris told me the story about muscle preservation. I've been following Chris for so long. And then I heard Nick's story and then they decide to join you. So we want to utilize these calls. That should be your action step in lots of different ways. We also have the mojito nights available. So go in your back office. I'm not very specific on details of how to find it, but you can find the people that ordered it in the past, or you can go follow up with your current customers and go, hey, if you want an extra flavor, you can get 50% off. Go grab a box, right? So you guys, it's intentional. It's having those conversations. It's making the ask, having fun and sharing your life. So I hope this was valuable to you. Thank you for tuning in. Your presence matters. Work on your mindset. And the last thing I'm going to end this with is the phrase that I started with is everyone ends up somewhere. Few people end up somewhere on purpose. So be purposeful with your mornings. Be purposeful with your mindset. Be purposeful with your business, right? Everyone ends up somewhere. Few people end up somewhere on purpose. Thank you for tuning in. We'll talk to you guys next time. Have a wonderful day. Bye, everybody.